Right now, a local family is speaking out after a little boy is abused to death by his father. We'll share what they have to say. And the man accused of murder on Christmas Eve could make his first appearance today, as we learn more about the victim this morning.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now This Morning.
Good morning, everyone, and happy Friday. It is December 27th. I'm Josh Brighter with meteorologist Chris Reese. Leah and Hattie have the morning off, and you're just telling me this is the last Friday of the decade.
It is, and they hooked us up with the classic bro show from over the summer. Hey, I'll tell you what, I'll take it. The weather is finally feeling close to normal. It's feeling like normal around here.
A little cooler, though.
A little cooler than we were yesterday, but oddly enough, these temperatures, Josh, are still warmer than our average high for this time of the year.
Wow.
Our average high is 27, so clearly we beat that today. Temperatures are going to be hanging out in the 30s pretty much all morning long. We may actually drop another degree or two. I say may with a reason. I'm hesitant to say that we actually do it just because we have a lot of cloud cover in here. If skies were clear, I'd be certain that temperatures would drop another degree or two. But nonetheless, we're going to be in the lower 30s. By the time we get you towards 10 o'clock or so, I think we start to see more sunshine as those clouds break up. 35 as we jump towards lunchtime. And then for that afternoon high today, I suspect temperatures to top out right around 37 to 38 degrees. Now, as we look ahead, I think there are going to be some travel delays across the upper Midwest. So we're talking some moderate to potentially major travel delays as the next storm system moves towards our region. Coming up in about 12 to 15 minutes, I'll be breaking down the timing of this.
All right, Chris, thank you. To the headlines this morning at 6:01, a local family is grieving the loss of their little boy this morning after learning that he had been abused for years under the care of his father. Dakota Collins' grandmother was denied custody of her grandson back in 2013. He was then taken by his father to live in Dayton, Ohio, which the family says was against court orders. While in Ohio, records show Dakota suffered extreme abuse, having been locked naked in an attic and held underwater. His autopsy shows cuts and bruises from head to toe. Child Services in Dayton say they did not have an open record for Collins' home, but had received prior police calls. Now Dakota's uncle and grandmother say the system needs to do better to protect children facing abuse.
The system, yeah, they're not 100% fit. They didn't physically abuse him and stuff like that, but they need to check into stuff, you know. And it can't be just a couple weeks. You gotta follow up on it, you know.
Family members are hoping for justice against the father and the two women who lived with him that admit they knew Dakota was being abused. His father is now facing counts of endangering children, felony assault, and rape of a child under the age of 13. We now know the name of the person who was killed on Christmas Eve on Madison's west side. The Dane County Medical Examiner's Office says 63-year-old Sheila Green died of a gunshot wound. It happened on South Midvale Boulevard. Madison police arrested Joseph Green of Madison in connection with that shooting. Police have not confirmed the relationship between the two, but say he could make his first appearance in court today. Breaking overnight into the Channel 3000 Alert Center, at least a dozen people are dead after a plane crash overseas in Kazakhstan. The plane carrying 98 people lost altitude shortly after takeoff, crashing into a concrete fence and two-story building. Nearly 50 people survived the crash, but more than 20 of them are in critical condition. The search for more survivors continues this morning. The last flames are finally out at the Drake Hotel in Minneapolis. 3 people were hurt and 250 were displaced after fire tore through the building on Christmas Day. The former hotel served as a temporary and transitional housing for those experiencing homelessness. People who were displaced are staying with the Red Cross and a nearby church. The cause of that fire is still being investigated. Around the state this morning, police in Waukesha say a man has died after being struck by a train. The train hit the man Tuesday morning and he was taken to a hospital where he later died due to his injuries. The conductor says he saw the man on the tracks but was unable to stop in time. That accident still under investigation. Milwaukee police are asking for your help this morning in locating a hit-and-run driver after a woman was hit and killed while walking her dogs on Christmas Eve. The woman, 36-year-old Jamie Hansen, was pronounced dead at the scene. Police say they're still looking for a dark-colored 2002 to 2007 Jeep Liberty with damage to a roof ladder or bike rack. This is at least the 6th serious hit-and-run crash in Milwaukee since October. Police in Rock County are still investigating the cause of a crash that killed 2 young men near the city of Janesville. Officials say one 19-year-old and one 20-year-old were driving on Rockport Road when they swerved to avoid an oncoming car and hit a tree.
As the vehicle that was involved in the accident was traveling eastbound, there was a westbound vehicle, and according to the witnesses and co-workers behind the vehicle, said that it was kind of straddling the center line. So it appears that the driver took evasive action in order to avoid a head-on collision, and as a result of that, lost control of the vehicle, then ultimately collided with the tree.
Both young men were pronounced dead at the scene. Staying in Rock County this morning, authorities are looking for the people responsible for breaking into several cars this week. In this surveillance video, you can see a man rummaging through an unlocked car in the city of Evansville. Police say they've seen a number of break-ins and even a stolen car this week. They're reminding you this morning to lock your car doors and remove any valuables from inside. We're learning more about who could be the next superintendent of the Madison School District as officials announce 3 finalists for that position. Dr. Matthew Gutierrez is a superintendent in Seguin, Texas. Dr. Margaret Vanden Wingard is an assistant professor of educational leadership at the College of St. Rose in Albany, New York. And Dr. George Eric Thomas is deputy superintendent for the Georgia State Board of Education in Atlanta. Public listening sessions will be held in January for each of these candidates. A bus that delivers books from Dane County libraries is improving access to communities, but some people are still struggling to use it due to language barriers. Our partners at Madison 365 say that in areas with a high Spanish-speaking population, some people aren't even aware of the Dream Bus or know about its services. A spokesperson from Madison Public Library says the library system is listening to feedback. The Dream Bus is not even a year old, so officials are still working on finding the best ways to reach users.
We know that we're reaching a lot of people, but we know that we have a ways to go in terms of reaching all of the communities that could best benefit from library service in Madison.
One of the 2 Dream Bus drivers speaks fluent and native Spanish, and some of the books, city schedules, and DVDs inside the Dream Bus are in Spanish. 6:07 right now on a Friday morning, and still ahead for us. Athletes usually say they're going to Disneyland after they win the big game, but the Badgers are taking a visit to the happiest place on earth before their big Rose Bowl matchup against Oregon. But first, Chris Reese says it's going to be a wet weekend with a little bit of everything falling from the sky. He's in next to tell us what to expect when News 3 Now This Morning returns.
For reliable weather day in and day out, watch First Alert Weather.
Well, happy Friday, folks. Temperatures this morning are certainly colder than they have been for just about the previous mornings of the past 2 weeks, it has seemed like. We are back into the 30s. You will want to make sure that you grab a jacket as you begin to head out the door. And temperatures going to be staying in the low 30s for most of the morning. We'll jump up into the upper 30s as we move into the afternoon. Right now, you're walking outside. Temperatures are right around the freezing mark for Madison. Janesville is at 34, 31 in Monroe, upper 20s as you work your way towards the Dells. And these temperatures are held steady by a blanket of cloud cover that we do see. Unfortunately, cloud cover, though, will slow the ability to warm up as we go through the morning. So we're going to stay chilly. High pressure does certainly remain in control for us as they stay warm along the eastern seaboard as of now. But things begin to change up for us as we go through time. While the Midwest is free of a lot of precipitation at the moment, this is the storm system that we're watching across the desert Southwest, and that's going to be working its way towards the north and east as we go through time, bringing with it a little bit of everything. But one thing is for sure, we are going to see some very heavy rain working its way into the upper Midwest. And folks, we could even see some rumbles of thunder. It's been a while since we've seen snow, yes, but it's been even longer since we've had some rumbles of thunder throughout parts of the upper Midwest, and I do think that's coming our direction this weekend. Let's time things out for you so you know what to expect. Temperatures this afternoon will warm up into the upper 30s. Look for those highs right around 37 to 38 degrees with some sunshine later on. But by tonight, the clouds start to increase again. It's possible that we see a little wintry mix earlier on tomorrow at the onset of precipitation, but things quickly go over to just liquid rain. Granted, the ground is still somewhat frozen, so we could see some easy ponding of water on the roadways. But then we're going to see multiple rounds of rain, some of this that could be very heavy as we head into your Sunday. I do think Sunday temperatures, though, will spike into the low 50s earlier on, before we see those temperatures decrease as we go through the rest of the day. Speaking of temperatures decreasing, watch the upper air weather pattern as we go through the next 10 days. I think we're going to see multiple shots of colder air returning to our part of the country. Even our mild spells will not be as mild, and it's possible once we get into the first full week of the new year, we start to truly see some of those colder shots of air along with storm systems associated with them. So we may be talking more chances for rain and snow along with more cold as we go through the coming weeks. Of course, the forecast evolves as we go through time. In the meantime, 30s today, 50s for Saturday and Sunday. We'll see a chance for some light snow Monday into Tuesday. We'll ring in the new year with temperatures still above normal, and then we'll see a chance for some snow Thursday and Friday next week as well. Our average high right now is 27, and by the time we get you towards the end of the 10-day forecast, our average high is going to be 26, and by next Sunday, we do have forecast highs right around average. Stacey K, take it away with First Alert Traffic.
Yes, thank you. No problems on the Beltline this morning. Nothing to slow you down yet in either direction. Other roads here in Dane County looking good. Just a few brake lights on Stoughton as you approach the Beltline, and starting to pick up a bit on John Nolan, too. There won't be any problems around campus as the college kids are off until the 21st. And other main roads heading into Madison, cruising along at the posted speeds. No crashes or delays. With your First Alert Traffic, I'm Stacey K.
Stacey K and Chris, thank you both very much. We're less than a week away from the Badgers facing Oregon in the Rose Bowl, but there's still plenty of time to pick up your Rose Bowl gear. The University Bookstore started selling Rose Bowl merchandise the day after it was announced the team would be headed back to Pasadena. They say anything with the Rose Bowl on it has been selling well, but hats are the most popular item so far.
Lots of t-shirts, long sleeve sweatshirts. Those have actually been flying off the shelves first because it's supposed to be a little bit cold at the game. I'm, of course, fingers crossed that the Badgers are going to win. I'm not too sure about it, but I'm hoping.
Half of the money from sales goes to the athletics department, while the other half helps fund scholarships. Right now, you can get a pretty good deal, too, with most of the Rose Bowl gear being sold for 25% off. Ahead of the big game, the Badgers are enjoying their time in Southern California. They spent yesterday having some fun at Disneyland. Check out this video. The team posted it on their Facebook page. That's the offensive line going down Splash Mountain, of course. Head coach Paul Chris says he liked seeing his team have fun like a bunch of little kids while they were at Disney.
Now getting to see players that you're coaching and to see them have fun together, it's pretty special. Just seeing our players experience Disney. We got a lot of them for the first time, right? And to be able to experience that in itself is special. And yet when they do it with each other, I think it's exciting.
The Badgers will battle the Oregon Ducks in the Rose Bowl on New Year's Day at 4 p.m. The Badgers men's basketball team is hoping for some success on the road this weekend. 11 games into the season, they still haven't won a game away from the Kohl Center this year. They have another chance tomorrow when they play Tennessee in Knoxville. Players say it comes down to bringing that energy with them when they leave Madison.
Honestly, we got to bring that same energy that we bring at home games to on the road, and this is a great test for us, a great opportunity, one of the top 25 teams in the country, and also with a lot of older guys and really, really talented and athletic guys.
You can catch that game right here on News 3 Now tomorrow afternoon at 12:30. 6:16 right now. Coming up, it's a little late for the holidays, but if your kids love Baby Yoda, or even if you're the big Star Wars fan in the family, you'll be able to see the new toy to the collection. We'll tell you when you'll be able to get your hands on it coming up on News 3 Now this morning. But first, after a couple of warm days, the kids may be stuck inside for the next couple, with temperatures dropping today and a wet weekend ahead. Chris has another check of our forecast when we come back.
Get
.620 on a Friday morning, and already a noticeable difference out there compared to yesterday.
Yeah, things are certainly going to be a lot cooler today as opposed to yesterday. Josh, yesterday it was 48 degrees at this time.
Wow.
This morning our temperature is at 32, so we'll call that a 16-degree temperature difference. 31 in Monroe right now, Janesville coming in at 34. things are just a little bit warmer right along the lakeshore. That's where you have those temperatures into the mid and upper 30s. 20 showing up as you work your way towards the north and west. But here's what to expect, folks, as we go through the day. We are cloudy right now. I think it's going to take us a little bit for the clouds to actually clear. I just looked at satellite, and we have a thicker brand of cloud cover getting ready to move in. But then we'll see some sunshine late morning and early afternoon as temperatures move into the mid 30s, and then we will top out into the upper 30s. We'll call it a high of 37 headed into the peak heating of the day. Josh?
All right, Chris, thank you. 2019 is coming to a close, and our film critic Will Loper has a look at what's in theaters in this last weekend of the decade. Here's this week's Loper Report.
I'm working on a novel. It is a story of my life and my sister's.
Greta Gerwig directs Little Women, based on the classic novel about the coming of age for 4 women.
This is Meg, Amy, Beth, and Joe.
I intend to make my own way in the world.
No one makes their own way, least of all a woman. You'll need to marry well.
But you are not married, aren't you?
Well, that's because I'm rich.
Little Women is rated PG.
Women, they have minds and they have souls, as well as just hearts.
Adam Sandler stars as a gambling addict who just can't stop making risky bets.
You're taking my money all over town, placing bets.
Howard, where's the money right now?
Howard, got my money? Howard!
Uncut Gems is rated R.
What's happening to my head?
It worked.
Finally, Will Smith plays a spy who gets turned into a pigeon. Yup, you heard me.
Walter, what did you do?
Hey, Lance, look at me.
Look at you? I can't not look at you, Walter. I can see my butt and your face at the same time.
I'm a freak.
Spies in Disguise is rated PG.
Walter.
Technically, you birded yourself.
Oh, I'm gonna hurt this boy.
Thank you, Will. And if you need to get your Baby Yoda fix as the first season of The Mandalorian comes to a close today, or you're just a fan of the memes online, you can now put in your order for your very own Baby Yoda. The Disney Store has unveiled this Baby Yoda stuffed toy. It's based on the creature known as the Child on the Star Wars The Mandalorian, a new series streaming on Disney+. Disney is now taking pre-orders on the toy, but it won't be available until March 9th. Hasbro says it'll have its own line of Baby Yoda toys, and that'll be available sometime in 2020. The people behind The Mandalorian say they waited to release Baby Yoda toys to avoid spoiling the character's reveal. 6:23 right now. Still ahead for us, we've got the top 3 things you need to know this morning before you head out the door. And now that all the presents are open, a second holiday rush is expected over the next week. If you have anything you need to take back to the store, we'll tell you which stores have the best return policies. That's when News 3 Now This Morning continues.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now this morning.
Good morning, everyone, and thanks for staying with us on this Friday, December 27th. I'm Josh Breiter. Leah and Hattie are off this morning, so Chris Reese is in keeping me company with his forecast. But first, here are your top 3 headlines. We now know the name of the person who was killed on Christmas Eve on Madison's west side. The Dane County Medical Examiner's Office says 63-year-old Sheila Green died of a gunshot wound. It happened on South Midvale Boulevard. Madison police arrested Joseph Green of Madison yesterday morning in connection with the shooting. Police have not confirmed the relationship between the two. The stock market is opening at an all-time high this morning. The Nasdaq closed at 9,000 for the first time Thursday. According to the Wall Street Journal, the surge was fueled by a post-holiday rally in shares from Amazon and other retailers. Another record was made as this is the 10th straight closing high for the Nasdaq, the longest streak since July of 1997. A powerful storm that brought heavy snow to parts of Southern California and shut down 2 major interstates is expected to head east over the next few days. That could make holiday travel a challenge for many. The snow caused near whiteout conditions in the mountains outside Los Angeles and stranded drivers for hours. Those are your top 3 things you need to know today, and Chris is here now with what you need to know with weather and traffic. Good morning, Chris.
Good morning, Josh. Things are certainly colder out there today, especially when compared to yesterday morning by as much as 10 to 15 degrees throughout parts of south central Wisconsin. In fact, we are 16 degrees colder than yesterday here in Madison, same for Janesville, Waukesha, 18 degrees colder than 24 hours ago. It's 30 in Waukesha, 30 in Lone Rock as well, 28 in the Dells, Janesville at 34 here in Madison. We do sit at 32 degrees right now. Here's what happens as we look ahead. I think temperatures will actually stay steady at 32, but we will be very slow to warm up early on just because we have overcast skies initially. Now, by about 9, 10 o'clock or so, we'll start to see a return of the sunshine. Temperatures will then get the chance to warm up. So check out what happens by noon. We'll see those temperatures in the mid-30s, and then we will top out into the upper 30s for those highs today. So we are certainly staying cooler. Then we look ahead towards the weekend, folks. The storm system comes towards the upper Midwest, and that brings with it travel delays. This is your holiday travel delay map. By the time we get you into Saturday, we could see moderate to even major travel delays throughout parts of this region of the country. Josh, I'll be fine-tuning the details of what you can expect right around 6:45.
All right, Chris, thank you. Doctors and store owners are weighing in this morning as the federal age to purchase tobacco products is soon increasing from 18 to 21 years old. This comes as part of the $1.4 trillion spending package President Trump signed last Friday. A recent study shows more than a quarter of high school students reported using e-cigarettes in 1 month. This is according to data from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. While a UW physician believes new legislation could change that, a general manager at a local smoke shop is doubtful it will actually work.
The benefits of making the age of purchase of all tobacco products 21 is going to be dramatic, it's going to be immediately, it's going to be long-standing.
I don't think it's going to help the problem. I think there's still going to be the same amount of people vaping. I'm just going to see less people up here.
The new legislation is expected to take place nationwide during the summer of 2020. The restriction will be for all tobacco products, including e-cigarette and vaping devices. Amazon says it had its best holiday season ever this year. The e-commerce giant was boosted by sales of tens of millions of its own gadgets. Amazon said its top sellers this holiday season included the Echo Dot, Fire TV Stick, and Echo Show 5. Amazon also said third-party product sales increased by a double-digit percentage over last year. Well, after the season of giving comes the season of returns. More than 3/4 of us will return at least one item after the holidays, and almost 20% will take back more than half of our gifts. Returns are expected to peak in the next week, with the most coming next Friday. If some of Santa's gifts didn't quite hit the mark, there's some things to keep in mind. First, not every store's return policy is the same, so you'll want to check the fine print on any receipts you may have, and it's also best to keep that receipt. Some stores won't take returns without one to help keep fighting fraud. Now, most stores will give you at least 30 days from the date of purchase to take items back, but a number of retailers are expanding those hours for the holidays. Kohl's is actually giving you 180 days to make returns. Best Buy will accept returns through January 14th for almost anything bought between the start of November and New Year's Eve. Amazon will also accept returns through January 31st for most items shipped since November. Some of us still have our holiday decorations up, but if you're not wasting any time in cleaning up, the state wants to make sure you're getting rid of your decorations the right way. DACAP is especially worried about invasive species that might be in evergreen trees bought during the holidays. They're asking people to look for signs of the pest EHS. It can infest things like evergreens, wreaths, and other decor. You can also check for the pest by looking at the underside of branches. If there's brown spots on the underside of the needles, it might be infested. DACAP wants you to burn any infested items to keep it from spreading, but you'll also want to check with the DNR for burning restrictions in your area first. A McDonald's in Wisconsin is celebrating a very special milestone for one of its employees. Verna Bauer works at a McDonald's in Waukesha and just celebrated her 90th birthday with the help of her coworkers. She retired from her original career back in 1997 when she was 68, but has worked at that McDonald's ever since. She's now been handing out Big Macs under the Golden Arches for more than 20 years, and her bosses say her work ethic has become the gold standard there.
She's totally loyal. She's always here. I don't remember when she may have called in sick. I don't remember when she has. She has a great attitude, and she wants to do everything.
She says she wants to be clear this was a birthday party and not a retirement party. She plans to keep working as long as she can. A big act of kindness came just in time for a waitress in Racine County. A group of 13 women sat in Michelle Bachman's section at Mulberry's Pancakes and Cafe on Sunday. They gave her a special Christmas card, and inside there was a $1,300 tip. Wow. Bachman lost her sister to cancer in October, and she says she feels like the group of women was sent by her sister. Well, coming up in the morning sprint, we have the latest on a deadly plane crash overnight. But first, the warm weather we've seen over the past couple weeks is making things tough for winter businesses. We'll take you to Lake Geneva, where they're struggling to keep the ice castles from melting. You're watching News 3 Now this morning.
Don't
Welcome back at 6:37. We've been asking you to share your morning with us, and Mel is sharing hers. She posted this picture on Instagram. Just incredible colors there, Mel. Thank you so much for sharing. It's one of our favorite parts of the morning here on News 3 Now this morning. What does your morning look like? Take a picture, post it to our Channel 3000 Facebook page, Twitter, or Instagram, and use the hashtag MyNews3Morning. Well, many of us aren't about to complain about the warmer than normal temperatures, but this unseasonable stretch is having an effect on Wisconsin businesses that depend on winter weather. That includes the ice castles in Lake Geneva, which are usually finished by Christmas, but are only about a quarter of their normal size right now. They can make their own snow and ice for the castles, but it doesn't stick around long when temperatures get into the 50s. That leaves them waiting for the next couple of weeks of cold before they can make any real progress.
We're kind of just at the will of Mother Nature. We do as much building as we can when we do get those temperatures, and then we kind of just try to protect it as best we can.
With temperatures expected to drop soon, managers at the ice castles say they hope to be open around January 10th. Events going on around town with a little help from our friends at Madison Magazine. The first is Guys on Ice, the one and only musical comedy about Marvin and Lloyd's love for ice fishing, the Packers, and snowmobile suits. A perennial favorite since 1998, Guys on Ice is a must-see repeatedly show that pokes fun at life in Wisconsin in the cold winter months while also managing to be heartwarming. Guys on Ice opened its 7-performance run at the Barrymore Theater last night. A fun Cowgirls Night Out will be thrown tonight at the High Noon Saloon. That's when several of Madison's best female singers will pay tribute to the queen of country pop, Shania Twain. Expect to hear Shania hits, including Any Man of Mine, That Don't Impress Me Much, and Still the One. The recommended dress code is no surprise, boots and cowboy hats. That show starts at 8:30 tonight. And if you're looking for some laughs, head to comedian Nate Craig's annual homecoming show tonight at the Majestic Theater. An alum of both Madison West High School and UW-Madison, Craig has continued his comedy trajectory. In 2019, he appeared in the Netflix show Maniac with Jonah Hill and Emma Stone, and he'll be lending his voice to Bill Burr's animated series, F is for Family. Remember, you can always find the best of the Madison area in this month's edition of Madison Magazine. Well, it might start to feel a little bit more like winter later today. Chris says temperatures will struggle to get out of the 30s today ahead of a warmer and wet weekend. He'll have his full first alert forecast coming up next. But first, it is December 27th, and we want to say happy birthday to Camden, Jamila, Lainey, Wesley, and all the other kids turning 3 today. Thanks for celebrating with us on News 3 Now this morning. 6:43 right now on a Friday morning. Live look at the west side of Madison and kind of a gloomy start to this Friday. I hope we can see some sun out there today, Chris.
I think we will be able to see some sunshine. It's just going to take us a little while. In the meantime, temperatures are certainly cooler. We're going to keep those cooler temperatures around as we go through today. But then comes the soggy setup as we head into the weekend, and then perhaps a more wintry setup as we head to the first weeks of the new year. Now, here's how things are going to look for folks who are going to be traveling as we go through the next couple of days. Today, travel should be good. No issues are showing up. We'll see a couple of clouds. Things change up, though, as we head into tomorrow and into your Sunday. The heavy rain comes in for tomorrow. That's going to mean wet roads. And then by Sunday, you're going to have a mix of rain and snow. And while I don't think that's a big deal, the ground is still somewhat frozen. So you're going to get a lot of water ponding on the roadways. That's why I think we certainly could run into some slick spots, especially as we head into your Sunday. Now, in terms of travel delays for folks who are traveling, here's how things are shaping up for us right now. There are none, but things change up across the upper Midwest tonight and into your Saturday. Watch how those moderate to potentially even major delays begin to show up by the time we get you into Saturday and early on Sunday. This is all a part of that next system that we are certainly tracking. In the meantime, folks, high pressure remains in control for us. It's keeping that chilly air around. It's also keeping the air a little bit drier, but still there's some low-hanging cloud cover sticking around. The back edge of that is back throughout parts of western Iowa right now. So we're going to keep the clouds around for a few more hours, though we are dry in terms of precipitation. What we are watching, however, is this next storm system that's developing across the nation's desert southwest. That's going to track towards the upper Midwest as we go through the coming days, bringing with it chances for rain and snow. So while high-resolution Doppler is clear right now, that'll change up as we go through about the next 24 to 36 hours. 32 is the temperatures you head out the door this morning. Lone Rock at 30, Janesville at 34. Upper 20s do show up as you work your way just to the north by about an hour or two. That's where things are a little bit colder. We'll top out around 38 as we head through the rest of this afternoon. We also see more sunshine this afternoon with more clouds thicken up as we move into tomorrow morning. Let's notice the time here. This is Saturday morning at 9:30. Temperatures will be hovering right around or just above freezing. This is why it's possible that the leading edge of the precipitation could be a wintry mix before that quickly changes over to all rain. And as we go through Saturday all the way through Sunday, we are going to just see multiple rounds of rain coming through here. Sunday at 4:30 in the morning, we'll likely see temperatures into the low 50s at this point. Then we'll start to see those temperatures drop on the backside of the system. And that's one of the things we're going to be paying attention to. It's the backside of the system. We're going to start to draw in some colder air. As we do that, we'll start to see some of this rain transition over to a period of wraparound snows. And some of the models are trying to develop a secondary low that could keep those wraparound snows around here for a time. I said yesterday that I'm never really a fan of wraparound snows because they don't typically add up to much. But some of the models are saying, hey, you might get a little light accumulation out of this. I'm going to continue to watch that as we go through the coming days. Still plenty of time to track that, but one thing that's for sure, it will usher in some colder air. And I think we're going to see a little bit of a colder pattern really setting up shape as we go through mid-January. In fact, watch this. This is just through the next 10 days. You'll see multiple shots of colder air diving into our part of the country. And even when we're mild, it's brief because here comes more cold. And so that sets the stage for what I believe is going to be a pattern that is more wintry, more wintry and closer to average for us. By the way, all of these temperatures in this 10-day forecast are above average until you get towards next Sunday, where our average high will be 26 and our forecast high is 26. But in the meantime, it's rain this weekend, going over to some light snow Sunday, perhaps some light snow Thursday into Friday next week as well.
A more wintry-like forecast is something you've been hoping for a while.
Oh my gosh, yes, I did not get a white Christmas. I made the joke earlier that my whole life, what I don't get on Christmas, I get it for my birthday. I did not get the white Christmas, so we'll see if I get it for my birthday this year in mid-January.
January 13th, right?
Yep, that's the day. We'll see.
We'll keep our fingers crossed for you.
All right. Thank you, Josh.
Thanks, Chris. Well, the morning sprint is up next on News 3 Now this morning, but first, here's what's ahead on CBS this morning.
Ahead on CBS this morning, Navy SEALs turn against their own platoon leader. A look at never-before-seen video and confidential interviews obtained by the New York Times accusing Chief Eddie Gallagher of war crimes. Plus, why a chemical used to sterilize medical equipment is now being blamed for allegedly causing cancer. And we'll take you to the International Space Station with astronaut Christina Cook. See you at 7.
Get
6:51, time for the morning sprint as we get your Friday started with everything you need to know. We start with breaking news overseas, where at least a dozen people are dead after a plane crash in Kazakhstan. The plane carrying 98 people lost altitude shortly after takeoff, crashing into a concrete fence and two-story building. Nearly 50 people survived the crash, but more than 20 of them are in critical condition. The search for more survivors continues this morning.
The system, yeah, they're not 100% fit. They didn't physically abuse him and stuff like that, but they need to check into stuff, you know. And it can't be just a couple weeks. You gotta follow up on it, you know.
That's the family of 10-year-old Dakota Collins. They tried to win custody of him before he was abused to death by his father. They say the child services system needs to do better to protect children facing abuse. Dakota's father now faces multiple counts of endangering children, felony assault, and rape of a child. We now know 63-year-old Sheila Green is the person who was killed on Christmas Eve on Madison's west side. The medical examiner says Green was shot to death. Madison police arrested Joseph Green in connection with the shooting. He could make his first court appearance as soon as today.
The weather is quiet for us as we begin to wake up this morning, but we are waking up to cloud cover in places like Stoughton, Cottage Grove, and Sun Prairie, and really all throughout not only Dane County, but southern Wisconsin. We're going to see that cloud cover stick around for a couple of hours, but temperatures are certainly colder as you head out the door as well. Make sure that you grab a jacket. We're going to keep those temperatures in the 30s as we head through the day. Josh?
Chris, thank you. Things may have been milder here lately, but that's not the case in California. A strong storm brought heavy snow to parts of that state and shut down two major interstates. The snow caused near whiteout conditions near Los Angeles, leaving drivers stranded for hours. That storm is now headed east over the next few days. A Michigan zoo is celebrating a rare Christmas gift. A critically endangered black rhino calf was born on Christmas Eve. The yet-to-be-named calf was standing on its own after about an hour and a half. Black rhinos are close to extinction due to illegal poaching and habitat loss. According to the World Wildlife Fund, only about 5,500 are alive in the wild today. There's new concern in Paris this morning that the Notre Dame Cathedral may have suffered too much damage to be saved. The 12th century church was ravaged by a fire while under construction in April, destroying its roof and causing its spire to collapse. Notre Dame's rector says there's about a 50% chance the structure might not be saved as the cathedral is still so fragile. French President Emmanuel Macron wants to rebuild Notre Dame in time for the Paris Olympics in 2023. The last flames are finally out at the Drake Hotel in Minneapolis. 3 people were hurt and 250 were displaced after a fire tore through the building on Christmas Day. The former hotel served as temporary and transitional housing for those experiencing homelessness. People who were displaced are staying with the Red Cross and a nearby church. The cause of that fire is being investigated. Milwaukee police are asking for your help in locating a hit-and-run driver after a woman was hit and killed while walking her dogs on Christmas Eve. The woman, 36-year-old Jamie Hansen, was pronounced dead at the scene. Police say they are looking for a dark-colored 2002 to 2007 Jeep Liberty with damage to a roof ladder or bike rack. This is at least the 6th serious hit-and-run crash in Milwaukee since October. Police in Waukesha say a man has died after being struck by a train. The train hit the man Tuesday morning and he was taken to a hospital where he later died due to his injuries. The conductor says he saw the man on the tracks but was unable to stop in time. That accident is still under investigation. Rock County authorities are looking for the people responsible for breaking into several cars this week. In the surveillance video, you can see a man rummaging through an unlocked car in the city of Evansville. Police say they've seen a number of break-ins and even a stolen car this week. They're reminding you this morning to lock your car doors and remove any valuables from inside. Authorities in Rock County are also still investigating a crash that killed 2 young men late Christmas night. They say a 19-year-old and 20-year-old were driving a car on Rockport Road when they swerved out of the way of another car and hit a tree. Both men were pronounced dead at the scene. Their names haven't been released yet. We now know the finalists in the running to become the next leader of Madison schools. Dr. Matthew Gutierrez is a superintendent in Seguin, Texas. Dr. Margaret Vanden Wingard is an assistant professor of educational leadership at the College of St. Rose in Albany, New York. And Dr. George Eric Thomas is deputy superintendent for the Georgia State Board of Education in Atlanta. Public listening sessions will be held in January with each of these candidates.
Lots of t-shirts, long sleeve sweatshirts.
University Bookstore says Rose Bowl gear has been flying off the shelves since people found out the Badgers were headed back to Pasadena. They say hats and warmer clothing have been the most popular because it's supposed to be a bit chilly in California for the game. You can snag a pretty good deal right now. The bookstore says most of its Rose Bowl stuff is 25% off. Meanwhile, the Badgers are having a little fun in California before they get to work on their game plan. They visited Disneyland yesterday. The team posted this video of the offensive line on Splash Mountain on their Facebook page. Our team is also headed out to California this weekend. The Rose Bowl kicks off at 4 in the afternoon on New Year's Day. 6:56 now. Stacey K has a final look at your First Alert traffic. Hi, Stacey.
Hi. Well, it's starting to pick up now on the westbound side of the Beltline with some brake lights between Stoughton and West Broadway. Inbound side of John Nolan getting busier at the Rimrock and Nolan Avenue intersections as you make your way into downtown. And other main roads heading into the city, they're moving along at the posted speeds. No crashes or delays. With your First Alert traffic, I'm Stacey K.
Stacey K, thank you.
And of course, we are going to keep high pressure in control today. That means our weather is going to stay on the chillier side. Highs don't get out of the 30s. The cloud cover this morning does gradually clear out as we move into the afternoon. Then we're watching rain coming in this weekend that could be very heavy at times with rumbles of thunder that'll likely end as some wraparound snows as we head into Sunday and Monday. From there, Josh, the pattern looks cooler.
All right, Chris, thank you. And thanks for joining us. Make it a great day, everyone, and have a wonderful weekend.